Both Google and Facebook are massive money makers in terms of ads, and unfortunately they're also huge places, huge sources for news. Unfortunately, a lot of that news is horseshit. So we have this prevalence coming out right after we get to all of this post-election news, definitely during the election as well, of these fake news sites popping up and delivering basically whatever, well, in terms of Facebook, at least, they do have you categorized whether you're liberal or conservative, and basically the algorithm makes it so that you're not going to be exposed to anything that doesn't confirm your bias already. So that's not necessarily the problem, that you're getting news skewed your way, but the problem is you're getting fake news skewed your way. Factually untrue stories are going your way. Recently, there was a Pew Research study poll that was conducted that as many as 80% of people had the basic facts wrong contributing to this election. Basic facts that were just, this is true or untrue, and that's it. And it did show that a lot of this that was contributing to it was Facebook's news aggregator. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg at first denied that this was a huge problem inside, but later it was found that there was a group of rogue Facebook employees who were saying, no, this is a massive problem, and we're working secretly on the inside to come up with a plan to present to the higher-ups about how to curb it. What's crazy is for him to come out and dismiss it like that when he knows, and those of us at the company know, that fake news ran wild on our platform during the entire campaign season. Google's top news link for final election results went to a fake news site with false numbers. While Google did post the real numbers above, it cited different news sites below, including one from 70 News that claimed Trump won both popular and electoral college, which we know to not be true. Yep. So this is a problem. When we have, recently we had BuzzFeed News, of all places, finding that a lot of these fake sites came from one small town in Macedonia, where young people were creating these sites to get clicks, to put onto Facebook and get clicks from Americans in particular, because American Facebook users, for some reason, no, not for some reason, I know why, are their clicks are worth more.
Yes.
So that they would be able to get more of a profit. And they didn't really, according to that article, they didn't care if it wasn't true or whoever it was bolstering. It was primarily Trump supporters. And this is a problem. This is a problem when we're intermingling ad money with what should be factual, or how something that is entirely untrue appear in the same space, in the same context, at least for most people, as a very well-researched and well-argued article from a reputable news site. Because we're also in a time where we're looking at mainstream media and saying, you've dropped the ball. At least they get the facts right most of the time.
See, to me, this sounds just like an allegory for the whole election in general, where you had one candidate who's got like a real career in politics versus someone who woke up one day and said, I think I'll be president. It's just, and it's interesting that you brought up, the Facebook algorithm and how you sort of you set on Facebook what you are. So for me, I think I'm set to be like very liberal or something. So
I probably am too. And it's set that way whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
You can go check on it yourself.
Yeah.
I've done it many times.
Yeah, and so for me, it's like I feel like I now am very aware of the fact that I was only seeing articles that were skewed in favor of the way I wanted things to go down.
Well, it's also not only, that's not necessarily a huge problem.
Right, yeah.
But the real problem is 28 to 31% of those were just out and out
fake
falsities.
Yeah.
They were not true. They were just there so that you would see them, get excited, and click them. And there's now, this is important, and people are realizing this. There is a Google Doc that is very popular right now with a lot of different names of so-called publications. They're actually just websites that you should not trust.
Yeah.
There are a lot of general rules that you can think about when you're trying to find a trustworthy news site. What I would say, some of them I've seen were that, and this is something that many people who at least work in news aggregation know about, is if only sites that do not seem reputable are talking about it, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
If it's something that makes you insanely, unreasonably angry, double check it somewhere else too.
Yeah, and I think that's my thing is, I'm always so careful about what I try to cite as being actual news because of this exact problem. And it's like because that, again, you talk about, generating ad revenue and stuff, and how like that is a lot of what the internet has become, especially with these big name players like Facebook and like Google. It's how does it end? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, recently Google or Alphabet has announced that Google will no longer include fake news sites in its ad service. And Facebook has said that they will include fake news sites will be included in their misleading or illegal content, which would be covered in the policy banning that. So at least we're starting to take steps. However, how much damage has already been done?
Yeah.
So it's immeasurable. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Well, again, because as somebody who is set to be very liberal on Facebook and who now, especially with Google, I feel like my phone constantly hears what I'm talking about, because I feel like I'll log onto the internet and immediately have advertisements for something I was just discussing without having posted anything about
Facebook
it.
Facebook absolutely uses those third-party trackers.
Yeah.
They've said they did too, or rather, no, I believe they said, oh, we don't, but then some research found to the exact contrary.
Yeah, that they absolutely do. But yeah, so what I'm saying is that, how do I know when that kind of stuff goes away? Because again, I'm still only getting the stuff that's targeted at me.
Well, you have to think about it. You have to try and step outside of your bubble. I'm not saying like, hey, join the other side, which you cannot stand, but you have to look at what your own views are with a sort of objectivity. I mean, like I said earlier, you need to have certain red flags in your head when you're looking at news sites. If you can't have it confirmed by something more reputable, it probably is not an actual factual item. There's also, if you look at the name of the site, if it doesn't seem legit, it probably isn't legit. I sincerely hope you check out that Google Doc. Note to self, put that in the description. Note to you, if I forget, tell me, and I will put it in the description, which happens a lot.
Yes.
Off topic. So it's, and then you have to wonder, how much is it of telling people to do this? Because it's not comfortable for people to do this. It's not natural for people to do this. But it's something you have to do until it gets cleared up.
It does, and it kind of like, it puts that sort of like social responsibility on the user or the consumer, where it's like, I think at this point we're all aware that fake news stories are out there. I mean, I'm certainly aware. Again, it's like you have to try to put yourself in the shoes of the opposite side, seeing things that are in their favor. But it's like I think anything that elicits a really strong emotional response, be it either that it really, really pisses you off or it makes you really, really excited, you always have to like cross-reference, because that's the thing about fake news, is it's made to elicit that really strong emotional response one way or another.
It's a problem when we combine news with money, and this has been a problem for years. When I used to be in local news media, and it's always been a prevailing problem. It's, do we follow the money? Well, it's our responsibility not to. But however, these lies are going to get the same amount of respect as credence as something credible, or maybe it'll get even more. And it's just like, you have to follow where this is going. You have to always follow the money. I think in every freaking story is follow the money, and that'll almost always lead you to the truth or lack thereof. Audience, how much fake news have you seen in your feed? Please let us know below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.